Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic, and we got a fun one this week. This is a deck I've been wanting to build since Brothers War spoiler season, finally got around to it, and that is Draw 2 Dimir, a deck that jams together all these new payoffs for drawing your second card of the turn and finding out if you can just play these cards and draw a bunch of cards and actually have that work out on a budget in Standard. And this deck is actually pretty cheap everywhere. I know last week's Soldier deck, it was really good, but some people pointed out that it wasn't that cheap on Arena. Well, Draw 2 Dimir is cheap on Arena as well as in paper. Paper, $42 on Arena, 16 total rares, 0 mythics, although that's a little deceptive because half of those rares are the 8 dual lands. So if you already have the dual lands, it's going to be 8 rares, and one of the rares in the deck that's not a land is a Valve Sleeper, which maybe people have from playing like Mono Black or various black decks in Standard. So hopefully this is one that people can put together on the cheap on Arena as well. So let's talk about Draw 2 Dimir, what it's trying to do, jump into some game seated action. So why would you play a draw your second card of the turn deck? And the answer is we got 2 really sweet payoffs in the Brothers War. The biggest one, Gixen Puppeteer, a 4-drop 4/3 that when we draw our second card of the turn, we drain for 2. Our opponent loses 2, we gain 2. So as long as we can consistently be drawing at least 2 cards, this is kind of like budget Shieldred in its own weird way. And then when it dies, we get to reanimate something, mana value 3 or less, so that gets back any other creature in our deck. And then Gurgling Anointer, another reanimation creature, when it dies, reanimate something with mana value equal to or less than its power, which means it always gets back a 1-drop, but it also grows as we draw our second card each turn with a +1/+1 counter, so this can't be reanimating anything as well. So the deck's actually really good at fighting through removal, thanks to the recursion these cards offer. So these are our big payoffs. Then we got a couple of 2-drops that care about our Draw 2 theme. Fairy Vandal grows as we draw our second cards. It's a flyer, it has flash as a bonus. Evangel of Synthesis, actually really sweet in this deck. It is a threat. As long as we've drawn at least 2 cards, it's a 3/3 menace, which is pretty good for 2 mana. And then when it ETBs, you draw a card, discard a card. So this is a way to trigger all of our other Draw 2 stuff. Because remember, during our turn, we get a card for our draw step. So to draw at least 2 cards, we only get to draw 1 additional card during our turn. During our opponent's turn, we actually get to draw 2 full cards. Our final creature, a Valve Sleeper. This does 2 really big things for the deck. It's not technically a draw second card creature, but it's a really nice support card. So number 1, it's a 1-drop. We talked about Gurgling Anointer, how it can always reanimate something 1 mana value. So we really want a 1-drop in our deck in case we play Anointer and it immediately dies. Hopefully we'll have something to reanimate with it. The other thing about a Valve Sleeper is if we can level it up, it's just pay 3, draw a card, and lose a life, which is a great way to trigger all of our Draw 2 stuff during our opponent's turn. If we got 6 mana, we can activate it twice, get Draw 2 during their turn as well. So that's the creature base of our deck. Of course, for any of this to work, we got to be able to draw a bunch of cards. So we have 3 different card draw spells in the deck. Thirst for Discovery, Tainted Indulgence. These ones are really important because they're instant speed. They draw us at least 2 cards, and they do it as an instant. And when our deck's at its best, we're going to be drawing 2 cards during our turn to trigger our stuff, and then drawing 2 cards at instant speed during our opponent's turn to trigger our stuff again. So then we're getting all of our triggers twice each turn cycle. So Thirst for Discovery, Tainted Indulgence, churning through our deck, finding our threats, finding our removal, and triggering all of our stuff during our opponent's turn. Consider smooths out our draws in the early game, and even though it's only drawing 1 card, as we talked about with Evangel of Synthesis, during our turn, we only need 1 extra card to actually trigger all of our Draw 2 stuff because of our draw step. So once we get our Draw 2 things on the battlefield, we're often casting Consider during our turn, even though it's an instant, so we can trigger all of our Draw 2 stuff and then do it again with Tainted Indulgence, Thirst for Discovery during our opponent's turn. We also got a bunch of removal. Rona's Vortex, Infernal Grass, Go for the Throat to deal with our opponent's stuff. Mana base, pretty simple. 8 rare dual lands, a bunch of basic lands. If you're trying to make the deck even cheaper, I think you can trim down on the rare dual lands a little bit, but every tapped land, like the common tap lands that you add to the deck, it is going to slow it down and make it a little bit less competitive. Sideboard wise, discard counters for control, removal for creature decks, Lantern of the Lost for graveyards, and that is Dimir Draw 2 for Standard. That's our Budget Magic deck for this week. So let's jump into some games and see if this Draw 2 deck can actually work on a budget in Brothers War Standard. Is Gitaxian Puppeteer shouldered in disguise? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some Brothers War cards? And snag them from our awesome sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTG Goldfish. Budget magic time. We are seeing if the draw 2 mechanic can actually work in standard. We'll try this. This hand's, it's okay. No card draw. Opponent plays land passes. Well, we will play a land. Lanamore wastes a Jund. Well, play the land, run out Evangel, do a little looting. Discard a Rona's Vortex, I think. Pass the turn. All right, definitely Jund. Fable of the Miabreaker. Well, play the land, run out the Anointer, and pass the turn. Opponent gonna do some looting. Discard some cards, draws some more. And has a cut down. Opponent, Titania. Goes attacking, gets a treasure. Well, no blocks. Well, play the swamp, play Anointer. Play Consider, get some triggers. All right, opponent cuts down again. Well, land going to the graveyard. And pass the turn. Opponent flips the Saga. So our opponent's not especially close to flipping Titania. But they are gonna sack the token and kill the Anointer. We get back Evangel. We will discard a, I guess, a Thirst. Opponent goes attacking, no blocks, down to 15. Well, play the swamp, play Puppeteer. Consider, get a trigger. Definitely keeping go for the throw. Go attacking. Opponent down to 14. We needed to find removal because our opponent can just keep copying the spider every turn. Opponent, how many lands do they hit? Ooh, 2. All right, that's getting our opponent close to flipping Titania, which, well, all right, less close if our opponent's going to get a land back to hand. Copies the Prowler. Oh, mills 2 more lands. 1, 2, 3 lands. Well, now we need even more removal. Thirst for discovery. Well, let's thirst. Okay, there's more removal, which is good. Discard a land, get some triggers. Play a land, go to combat, attack, attack. Opponent gonna block, sure. Play Evolve Sleeper, pass the turn. Ooh, opponent did not cycle for the Titania, that's interesting. I thought they were gonna cycle this to get the 4th land. Okay, opponent cycles, draws a card. We do have 2 removal spells though, so we should be okay. Opponent land. Copies the spider. Yeah, we gotta let it go. Okay, sacks the spider. Blows up the puppeteer. This is fine. So we get back a Anointer. Opponent can gain some life if they want to. I mean, this is actually pretty good for us though, because we get to opponent attacks with both. Yeah, let's kill Titania. Take 3. Down to 14. Opponent gain some life. Well, level up the sleeper. Level up the sleeper. Get it out of cut down range. Hit ya. Yeah, I think we gotta leave up the removal. It's tempting to further level up the sleeper, but let's wait. Run out another sleeper, pass the turn. Well, let's see what our opponent has. Soul of Windgrace, okay. I mean, that's a good card, but it doesn't really do anything with this reflection. And our synergies are gonna start adding up here in a minute. No attacks. Yeah, let's draw a card with Sleeper. Untap. 1, 2, 3. Draw a card with Sleeper. Trigger our stuff. So many lands. So many lands. Play a land. Yeah, let's get in with a flyer. Hit ya. Pass the turn. Opponent has a go for the throat. Gonna hit our bigger sleeper. All right, well, in that case, we'll get rid of the Solar Wind Grace. And yeah, we'll let it go. All right, nothing to go with this Reflections, please. All right, that's a Prowler. I mean, technically that goes with the Reflections, but that's not a real threat here. Wow, doesn't get back the land. Okay, gonna copy it. What is our opponent's endgame here, though? Just trying to hit cycling lands, I guess? Mills. Wow, Grixis Command gets back a land. I mean, it's dying, you might as well. And, all right, gonna mill and make a bear. Well, we will level up Sleeper. And we do want to close out this game before our opponent actually finds a Titan of Industry or something. Level up. Draw a card. Please not a land. Grow the Anointer. Play the land. Play a Valve Sleeper. Go to combat. Big attack. Is this too greedy? Are we risking death? Opponent scoops it up. I mean, I guess if they draw a Titan of Industry there, we're just kind of out of luck anyway. not a whole lot we can do about that. Well, Disdainful Stroke seems fine. Lantern of the Lost might actually be relevant here. We didn't see any artifact creatures, which I think means go for the throats, just an upgrade over Infernal Grasp. What do we cut? We'll go down to Vandal. Rona's Vortex doesn't seem bad. Like, Rona's Vortex getting rid of a Titan of Industry is relevant. The Negate could also be good. How many counters can we fit? Maybe we go to one more Vandal. Actually, you know what? Let's go to one Evangel. Let's try it like that. All right, 3 counters, 2 graveyard hate spells. It's a tough deck to sideboard with too much just because we're pretty synergy based. So we need like our card draw, and then we need our draw 2 creatures. So we don't have a ton of room for sideboarding. Mostly just changing up like the removal spells, but all right. Can we take down Titania Jund? That game felt good. We managed to close it out before our opponent could get Titan of Industry going. And we managed to keep them from flipping Titania. Although I think our opponent probably could have been more aggressive with it. Like, I'm not sure it was right for them to return all those lands from their graveyard to their hand. Because by doing so, it stopped them from flipping Titania. We did have removal, but they didn't know that. So I don't know. I would have at least left one more land in the graveyard, but all right, opponent's on the play. Titania versus Dimir, draw 2 of all things. Not keeping the 1-lander. I guess we will keep the all-lander though. That is a lot of lands. Oh geez, that's even more lands. Okay, a Valve Sleeper. Well, this hand is sketchy. This hand does not make me feel comfortable with our chances of winning. We'll see. Are we cutting down? Wow, okay. Well, at least our opponent used a real removal spell on it. We'll take that as a semi-win. Opponent, land, and passes. Well, play the land. And yeah, I think we just got a thirst here. We really want to hit some interaction, I think, or better creatures. Opponent, Riveteer's Outlook. Grabs him out and passing. Well, okay. Thirst for discovery. Discard a land. Ugh. Not the best thirst. Well, play the land, play Evangel, do some looting. Discard a land. I mean, one of the nice things about the deck is we have a lot of card filtering. So even if we draw too many lands, which we are currently doing, in theory, we should be able to get out from under that. Cruelty of Gix. Well, that's a whiff. Can we beat the reanimation is the next question. Well, Puppeteer's not the worst. Get in, hit ya. Play the Puppeteer. Play the Shipwreck Marsh past the turn. Opponent gets to tutor, drops to 13. So I assume they're trying to tutor up a way to get a Titan of Industry into their graveyard. This would be a spicy turn to draw a graveyard. Hey, opponent tutors. What are they? I mean, they know we have a handful of removal spells. Their whiff with the cruelty did at least show them what our hand is. Brotherhood's End. All right, sweeps away our board. We will get back a Valve Sleeper. And then there's a Prowler. Oh, tell me you don't just randomly mill it. Oh no. Okay, they mill a Spider, which is, I guess, something, but not the end of the world. Our Puppeteer might be better than that. I guess they can spin that and oh, okay. Opponent just plays the land. I was thinking they might try to use it in response, but go to combat, attack. Opponent takes it. We'll play the island past the turn. Let's see what they do with this reanimation. If they go for the spider, we kill this. If they go for our stuff, that's great. We just Rona's Vortex it. So opponent's gonna go for the spider, which I think means we need to kill the prowler. So opponent gets the spider. Nothing to sack. Still worried. I mean, opponent's getting to the point where they can just cast Titans of Industry. And Titan of Industry is a really good card. It is a tough card to beat. Opponent, tap land. Okay, gonna make a bear. Sure. Well, let's level up. Opponent makes a bear. Mills some cards. We will Tainted Indulgence. Discard a land. Now, play the Anointer. Draw with a Valve Sleeper, trigger Anointer. And no attacks. All right, no Titans. No Titans, no Titans. All right, there's a Titan of Industry. Shield counter, gains 5. Rona's Vortex is a good answer here, though. Opponent passes, so we play the land. Rona's Vortex with Kicker. Get rid of the Titan of Industry. Activate a Valve Sleeper, draw a card. Attack with the Angler. Opponent, down to 11. That Rona's Vortex came through for now. We'd love to grow this Anointer one more time so we can get back the Puppeteer. The 5 life does buy our opponent a minute. I mean, I guess this turns on the reanimate. Well, no, because we tuck the... Okay, so opponent gets back 2 creatures. We lose our Dork. Opponent plays a Prowler, mills some cards. Gets back a land. Attacks down to 11. Play Fairy Vandal. Play Evangelist Cephas. Synthesis. Discard the land. Grow the Dorks. Hit you for 4 in the air. Playing a Valve Sleeper. I mean, this is it. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to this. Can we hold? Can we hold with draw 2? No Titans of Industry. No Titans of Industry. No sweepers. No Titans. Looking at their handful of cards. Do they have an answer to our janky budget flying beatdown? If you're making bears, that's fine. You can make all the bears you want. Because we can just get rid of this spider and then attack for lethal. Land for our opponent. Blood Tithe Harvester. That doesn't directly beat us. This could let our opponent discard a Titan of Industry to reanimate. Okay, Blanchard Prowler, that also doesn't directly beat us. Mills a Titan of Industry. Okay, do they have reanimation? They do. Okay, so opponent's gonna reanimate Titan of Industry. Is this gonna be enough? Yeah, so they get back the Titan of Industry. Sure, so they're gonna go up to 9. They do not know about the other Rona's Vortex. So they go to 9, they make a shield counter. That's fine. No attacks. Well, level up. The Valve Sleeper. Untap. Well, level up a Valve Sleeper. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's Rona's Vortex. Rona's Vortex. Tuck the Titan of Industry. Go to combat. Get in with the flyer. I mean, if they block with the spider, they're going to gain a ridiculous amount of life, I think. Blocks with the spider. Okay, gains 5. So opponent's back up to 14 again. Well, we might as well level this up now. Play the land, pass the turn. What does our opponent find? Land. Okay, spider. What's it going to kill? So they sack the Dork. They might have to kill the Valve Sleeper. Oh, they're gonna go after the okay. Well, I mean, this is kind of fine. Because now we get to do our shenanigans where we get back the Puppeteer. And if that dies, we get back the Anointer. So this is not the end of the world. And a Titania, which we can kill if we need to. They only have 1 land in their 2 lands in their graveyard? Okay. Well, go a Valve Sleeper. Opponent passes. Negate's not the worst. Well, 1, 2, 3. A Valve Sleeper. Trigger our stuff. Drain you. Lantern of the Lost. I mean, I guess at this point, a land. Get rid of a land, pass the turn. No attacks. Opponent untaps. So what gets us the worst now? Another Titan? So opponent mills a bunch of cards, gains a little bit of life. Okay, so the opponent's all in on the bear plan, apparently. Mills some cards, gains some life, plays a land. I think what we do here is we Evolve Sleeper. And then we're gonna Lantern. This does exile a graveyard, which is annoying, but it triggers our stuff. We drain our opponent, we grow our board, we untap. We Evolve Sleeper, trigger our stuff. Grow our board. Go to combat. Hit you with the Fairy Vandal. Opponent takes it. Evolve Sleeper, pass the turn. Please not Titan of Industry. Okay, just a Prowler. Just a Prowler, that's fine. We do not really care about the Prowler. This can gain our opponent life with Titania again, but that I think is okay. Sure, because we get to trigger all of our stuff again with Tainted Indulgence. Sacks the blood, draws a card. Maybe we just got to kill this Titania because of the life gain. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, I guess we should have just killed it earlier because it's gaining so much life. Well, Tainted Indulgence, trigger our stuff. Thirst for Discovery. Drain you. Go for the throat. Kill the Titania. Untap. Get in with the Flyer. We're like one turn away. Opponent gonna block. There goes the Reacher. Opponent gains a little bit of life. Back up to 12 temporarily, but we'll play Puppeteer. Consider. Keep another one. Puppeteer Tribal. Double drain you. Grow the Fairy. Opponent down to 8. This is it. This is it. Negate in hand. Opponent gets to loot. As long as it's not a Titan of Industry. Discards a hearse. Okay, makes bears. That's fine. We beat bears. Bears do not beat us. I mean, we don't even need to attack here. We don't even need to attack. All we gotta do is draw cards. Our own budget janky Shieldred coming through for the win, I think. Opponent. Scoop it up! What a win! What a win. That was our budget deck in full force. Oh, so good. Well, that was sweet. That was super sweet. Budget magic time. We are playing some more Draw to Dimir in Standard, and yes, we will play first. Yes, we will mulligan first. Well, all right, this hand's got no threats, but we got a bunch of card draw and card filtering, so that's fine. I mean, we should be able to consider our way or indulge our way into something. All right, well, Island go. A lot of times it's nice to try to hold on to Swampfire opponent, hold on to our considers to trigger our stuff, but in this case, we really need to find threats first. Well, I mean, Evolve Sleeper is, it's a threat adjacent. It's a start, we'll go with the start. Blood Tithe Harvester. Ooh, Puppeteer's good. Well, I think we just gotta double level up here. Otherwise, it's too easy for our opponent just to snipe our sleeper with the Blood Tithe Harvester. This also gets us to card draw mode, which is fine. If we don't want to run out the Puppeteer next turn, we can wait and just draw a card maybe. See what our opponent does. Looking at their blood total, are they actually just going to sack the blood? Oh, okay. Well, if our opponent's going to like do this and then cut down, that's fine. All right. Well, that's a win. We got rid of 2 cards basically to kill a single Evolve Sleeper, which we can Puppeteer back. Fairy Vandal's pretty good here. We can Vandal plus Tainted Indulgence and start growing it. Oh, they called Anvil. Well, this might not be too bad. Anvil's really good at cluttering up the ground, but we actually have some flyers, so we might be able to just swing over. Fairy Vandal, Tainted Indulgence, draw some cards, get a trigger, discard. Oh, I guess just a land. Go for the throat. Not great against artifact tokens. Well, hit you for 2. kind of want to just get down the Puppeteer. We do have the Sleeper in the graveyard, so if it dies, at least we're getting something back. That's one of the things you really want to try to do with this deck is make sure that you have something to reanimate with Puppeteer and with Gurmag Anointer or whatever it is. All right, Infernal Grasp, sure, kills the Puppeteer, that's fine. We get back a Valve Sleeper. Part of what makes it an opponent, wow. Is that a Shame Scoop? A Shame Scoop to the Valve Sleeper? Well, that is surprising. I'll take it though. Grixis Sacrifice, eh? Maybe bring in like a counter. Duress could be fine. I don't know if you have to make any huge changes though, really. Yeah, let's just bring in a couple negates, do a little trimming. The negates can stop an Oni called Anvil, or like, who knows, Fable the Mirror Breaker or something. On to game number 2. Dimir draw 2 versus Sacrifice. Okay, sure. Sand looks okay, although we do need to hit black mana. As long as we hit mana though, like Thirst for Discovery, between that and Consider, we should be able to find it. Well, I guess we consider now. Okay, there's a black source. All right, with a black source, this hand's actually pretty great. We have all the threats we could ever want. Yeah, we'll just run out Fairy Vandal. Given the choice, remember, Evangel of Synthesis can be a draw 2 card. It's a good threat, but it's also a way to draw an extra card. All right, make Disappear. So it's usually better to try to get down or draw 2 payoffs first. Island, and yeah, let's just loot, that's fine. Get down the Evangel, draw more Vandals, discard Rona's Vortex. Opponent. Okay, that was a quick one. I don't even know why that was so quick, but we'll take it. Sweet, sweet. Budget Magic time. We are checking out the draw 2 mechanic in Standard. Opponent Duress as a way or Consider. I don't know about this main deck Duress plan. I guess it's good if you just expect to play black mid-range mirrors all day. Well, land. Oh, we have our full creature curve. The full draw 2 creature curve all the way up. We'll see if it's enough. Opponent. Tenacious Underdog. Land and pass the turn. Opponent. No attacks. Well, we'll run out the Fairy Vandal. Untap, play the land. And I think we passed the turn. I don't think we want to run out our Anointer until we have a creature in the graveyard. That Consider actually would have been helpful. Come to think of it. Opponent. Caves of Coilos. Okay. Sure. So opponent blows everything up, but we draw land. We get to play Anointer and Sleeper. Pass the turn. Only 3 cards in hand. Unless there's an Evoke to spare, then the hand gets refilled. Cruelty of Gix. All right, gets to take our Puppeteer. Well, play a Puppeteer. Hit ya down to 17. About it. Drops to 14. Gotta have something busted if they just tutored. Path of Peril. I don't think this is as good as our opponent hoped, though, because Puppeteer gets back Anointer, and Anointer gets back Sleeper. And then we will Thirst for Discovery. Discard a land. Play the land. Level up Sleeper. Play a Sleeper. Pitch you down to 9. All right, so opponent gets to reanimate, which I assume is going to be a Puppeteer. Yeah, what do you got? Double Wrath. Opponents cast 2 Wraths so far, but we're still in pretty good shape. It is annoying that they have our Puppeteer, but Bankbuster passes. Well, I mean, play Anointer, play Evangel, loot away a land that we didn't want anyway. Trigger, grow our stuff. Get in for 3. Well, this is it. Does our opponent find Wrath number 3 or something similar? Opponent. All right, Infernal Grasp drops to 7, kills an Anointer. Anointer gets back Fairy Vandal this time. Oh, the recursion's so good. Opponent draws a card, sure. Probably should have done that during their turn to trigger Puppeteer, but I'm fine with our opponent not gaining that life. Opponent. Do you find a Wrath? I mean, opponent at least needs to be able to kill a Valve Sleeper, or else we get to trigger all of our draw 2 stuff, and I think we just win. Opponent seems to be thinking about Tenacious Underdogging. Okay, they have Invoked Despair. So we'll just sack the smaller sleeper. Opponent gets to gain some life. They draw a couple of cards. 3 cards in hand. Yeah, Invoke was pretty huge for our opponent. Okay, just Concealing Curtains. Well, let's see what we draw. A land. Well, 1, 2, level up sleeper. Level up sleeper. Trigger our stuff. Grow our dorks, grow our dorks. Go to combat, attack with everything. This forces our opponent to block, right? Yeah, I think so. All right, go attacking. This forces our opponent to block something. All right, they're gonna crew their Bank Buster, block the sleeper, drop to 1. Well, we'll pass the turn. Can't use your white mana, can't blitz. Okay, cycle. So this puts our opponent up to 3. We go to 9, but they need more than that. This isn't lethal, and this is through Double Wrath. I think we're getting through Double Wrath. Flipping the curtains doesn't do it. Invoke Despair, does that do it? 4 and 4, no. Opponent duresses, takes our thirst, transforms, attacks. We go to 2, and opponent done. Okay, opponent had Wrath for days, but not enough. Not enough to overcome the power of the draw 2. Orzhov, I guess? Some form of black deck. We'll go on like 1 Fairy Vandal, maybe 1 Consider for 2 negates. The duress, I kind of want 2 duresses too. Can we find a way to get 2 duresses? Maybe we want 1 more Vandal and 1 Rona's Vortex. Yeah, let's try it like that. Let's try it like that. That seems good enough. Basically, we want to be able to answer the sweepers, and we want to be able to answer Invoke Despair, while still having enough creature removal that if our opponent finds a Shieldred, we're not just drawing dead. Opponent had a pretty powerful draw with multiple sweepers, and we still got there. I mean, one of the upsides is definitely the recursiveness. I think that is probably the reason to play budget, draw a second card. Just like so many ways to get things back from the graveyard to fight through removal is super helpful. And we get to draw a ton of cards, which is super fun. So win, win, win. Opponents on the play. Can we draw to them? Yeah, all right. I mean, so we don't have much interaction, but we do have 2 of our nice payoffs, and we got some card draw. Opponent. Swamp passes. Well, land, go. Opponent. Land, and Unlicensed Hearse. That is pretty good against us. So that's gonna shut down some of our recursiveness. Land go. Opponent. White manas. Gonna pass? All right. Well, land and run out the Anointer. Not as exciting with the Hearse out, but a threat's a threat. Opponent. Swamp. And Liliana. All right, takes it down. Well, Anointer Part 2. If our opponent follows us up with Invoke Despair, we're in pretty bad shape. We really need a threat to live and then to draw some cards. Shattered Sanctum. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's a good hand. That's a very good hand for our opponent. Opponent draws a bunch of cards, ticks up. Well, I guess we discard. Opponent also discards. Yeah, this Hearse is ruining our day. That is an issue, the graveyard hate. We were just talking about how the biggest upside of our, oh my god, we cannot draw land to save our lives. Yeah, we need to do something different. Draw some cards. Discard a island. Play a swamp. All right, so we hit a land. Although I really do not like where we're at here. Opponent. Oh, yeah, the second Invoke Despair. I mean, we brought in answers for this. We just didn't find them. I think that's the issue with this one. Opponent hit their sideboard cards. We did not. Opponent takes up. Yeah, double Invoke Despair. Not sure I've ever beat that. Opponent discards a curtain. Plays a land. And even if we do anything, it just gets killed by Liliana, and we don't get anything back because the Hearse is eating our graveyard. Well, we draw land. Yeah, play Evangeline Loot, I guess. We really need to find something that interacts with all these powerful spells. Another Evangel. Well, discard Infernal Grasp at this point. Land. Angler. Pass the turn. As a removal spell. The funny thing is, I don't even think Liliana is that good against us. Unless our opponent also has Unlicensed Hearse, then it's very good. Opponent gonna keep exiling the graveyard. Wow, okay. Well, we're gonna go on to game number 2 here, or game number 3. That was a blowout. No other way to put that other than that was a blowout. So I guess we bring in Disdainful Stroke. Maybe one more Duress? Are we cutting another Fairy Vandal? Maybe we want to one Thirst. Let's try it like that. All right, we're on the play, which is hopefully good. We'll see if our opponent draws on Licensors. That would be bad. We're on the play. Let's see what this hand looks like. All right, I mean, we'll keep it. Still no counters or Duresses, which is scary. Mulligan for those sideboard cards, I think. Well, Underground River, go. Tap land. Well, we will consider. You know what? I think we keep the Fairy Vandal here, actually. Play the land, pass the turn. Opponent Swamp. And Concealing Curtain. Well, run out the Vandal. Untap. Play a Underground River. And pass the turn. Opponent Swamp. Flips. Well, we will Thirst for Discovery. Discard a Swamp. So opponent's got options, but our hand's not bad here. So opponent gets a 3/4. They get to choose what they want to take. And then we're going to get to draw another card. Takes the Duress. Ooh, Disdainful Stroke is not bad. Opponent hits us. I'll play the land. Play Evangel. Discard. Probably Thirst here. Yeah, let's take Thirst. Get in, hit you for 3. Well, the race is on. The race is on. Is it enough? The 2 counters are helpful for sure. Opponent. Going to be a close one. Negate that. Untap, play the land, play the Anointer. Hit ya. Down to 11, opponent untaps. Oh my goodness, these pain lands. The pain of the pain lands is actually a problem. Nothing to get back at the moment with the Anointer. Do we have to stop attacking? Maybe we gotta stop attacking and try to block the eye. It doesn't feel great. We'd rather just win. Oh, please have Invoke Despair. This is where we'd like our opponent to have Invoke Despair. Yes, stroke it, stroke it. Are we staying aggro? You might as well. Hits us down to 5. Well, Duress our opponent. Bankbuster, Sheoldred. Tainted Indulgence, get some triggers. Discard. Hit ya. I think this works. We block, this lives. Oh, we're 1 point, oh no. We're gonna end up 1 point short. Block and block. Sheoldred. We're 1 point of damage short. You know what? I think we punted. Yeah, we can hit our opponent to 1, but we can't win. So I'm gonna say we should have won that. And I think what the punt was, and at the time it wasn't super clear, but I think we needed to, I guess, negate the Invoke Despair and then hold on to the Disdainful Stroke. My thinking at the time was stuff like Path for Peril, which we've seen, which Disdainful Stroke can't get. So I was trying to play around some of those cheap removal spells. But the one upside, opponents sending emotes, they're pretty proud that their Sheoldred managed to beat our budget deck just barely. It's a loss. There's no way around it. But it is worth pointing out, if we'd used the counters in the opposite order, I don't know. It's still not super clear. Like the way it played out, if we had saved Disdainful Stroke for Sheoldred, we would have won this game. On the other hand, it's definitely possible that our opponent had a sweeper or something, like a Path to Peril that they cleaved or something, and we would lose to that instead if we'd went the other direction. So I don't know, maybe it's not a punt, although maybe it's hindsight bias, but wow, that was close. Close. Budget Magic time. We are trying some Draw to Dimir in Standard, and we'll give this a try. So nothing to do on turn 1. A black deck. Who would have thought? Who would have thought our opponent might be playing a black deck in Standard? What is going on? This innovation, hard to keep up with. Opponent to the bottom. So opponent's apparently playing mono black. Misery Shadow gets and hits us. Well, play the land past the turn. Wow, more Crystal Grottos. Opponent loves their scrying, apparently. Does not love good mana, but scrying, on the other hand, very appreciative. Levels up a Valve Sleeper. Attacks. Well, we're gonna kill the Shadow. You can't level up again because you're playing a million Crystal Grottos. Down to 14. And even more sleepers. Whew, so many Underground Rivers. Play the Anointer. Down to 13 past the turn. I assume it's likely our opponent has removal here, but their bad mana will mean they're not actually leveling up, which is something. Ooh, all right, opponent finds another swamp. Mana improving. Go for the throw. Yeah, gonna need another removal spell, I guess, with how this is played out. Opponent gets in for 4. Down to 9. How can we get out of this? I guess we just play the Puppeteer. Pass the turn. So this isn't bad. We can trade and get back the Anointer. I mean, we're gonna kill one of these. This also makes our opponent level up this one, which is good. So they level up. Levels up to draw a card. We drop to 6, but we get back the Anointer. Yeah, play Fairy Vandal. Consider to grow our dorks. Fairy Vandal to the graveyard. Get some triggers. Play the land past the turn. So we can Tainted Indulgence during our opponent's turn. We're starting to see the synergies sort of add up here. Oh, I hate this card. Okay. Well, we will sack the Vandal. Yeah, this is bad because it means we have no black mana now because we've drawn all Underground Rivers. So we can't actually use our black cards. Opponent passes. Well, Thirst for Discovery. Discard an island. Play the land. Yeah, I guess we just pass. Oh, so close, but Invoke Despair. Opponent plays a land. Liliana of the Veil.
I don't appreciate.
All right, Thirst for Discovery. So this grows the Anointer enough to get back the Puppeteer. Underground River. So Anointer grows, and then Anointer dies. And then Anointer gets back Puppeteer. Also has more removal. Anointer. I mean, after all this, we're still not dead. No attacks. Okay, that's good. Play Puppeteer. Consider. Infernal Grasp, Graveyard. Get some triggers. So we're dead to Invoke Despair no matter what. All right, just play a Valve Sleeper. Pass the turn. All right, I mean, if you got another Invoke, you got another Invoke. Can't really do anything about that at the moment. Graveyard Trespasser. All right, good, but not deadly yet. Wow, we are right on the edge. Right on the edge. Block and block. The Graveyard Recursion has actually been pretty good. So if they kill the Anointer, we get back another Valve Sleeper. Our painful mana is annoying here. We'll see if we can actually stabilize. Opponent gonna level up. So stuff dies. Maybe we just want Fairy Vandal, actually. Get back Fairy Vandal. Opponent passes. Ooh. All right, well, we will consider to get some triggers. Mill the Swamp. Gain some life. Go for the throw. Kill the Trespasser. Discard a Valve Sleeper. Kill Lily. Hit our opponent. Has the tide turned? Has the tide turned? Still scared of Invoke Despair. Opponent untaps. Double Tainted Indulgence. Is this Duress into Invoke? Oh my god, I'd be so sad. What's that last card? We're kinda grinding them. Take Numa. Gonna mill some cards. Gets back probably Graveyard Trespasser, I guess. Well, we get to draw and get triggers and drain. Discard the Fairy Vandal. Evangel. Draw. Triggers, drain. Does this let us win? Does this let us win? Triggers. drain, grow, attack for 8. Oh, we did it. We did it. It worked. We draw Totem. Okay. I think an underestimated part of this deck, at least what I underestimated, was just his ability to keep getting stuff back from the graveyard. Like that's one of the huge upsides. Like you saw it there. They kill our thing, we get it back, we kill our thing, we get it back, which naturally makes us kind of resilient to removal, like surprisingly resilient. Invoke Despairs though, So probably want Disdainful Strokes. Go for the Throat seems like all upside over Infernal Grasp here. So 2 Disdainful Strokes. Maybe 1 Vortex. Oh, do we go down a Sleeper? A Vandal? Let's go down 1 Vandal. Let's try it like that. That actually kind of felt pretty good. Our mana base was super painful, which almost was a problem. But in the end, our ability just to keep recurring our threats from the graveyard kind of overwhelmed the mono black deck. Those Scrylands. The Scrylands, I think, are correct for our opponent to play if you're playing monocolor, although Mishra's Foundry might just be better. But if you have room for colorless lands, they're fine. But it is kind of funny when people get punished for it. And our opponent was getting a little punished early game by just drawing so many of them. We are on the draw for game number 2. All right, we'll keep this. Our mana is going to be less painful, and a Valve Sleeper, I mean, it's got to live, but if it lives, we saw our opponent doing things with it. And it's a 1-drop, which is relevant with some of our recursive stuff that we'll hopefully draw. Like, initially I didn't have any 1-drops in this deck, and then I realized with Grimag Anointer, or whatever it is, the 3-drop, you really want a 1-drop, so if it dies right away, you get something back. I had Delver for a minute, then I realized Sleeper's probably, like, its ability to draw cards works really well with the theme of the, wow, opponent's going to 5. Okay, Schwamp, and Duress, sure, can take our Consider. Well, Schwamp and Valve Sleeper. Opponent, Swamp, and passes. Well, play the land, get in for 1. Pass the turn, flash in the Vandal. Opponent passing. Well, play the land, go to combat. Do we want to level? Let's just hit our opponent to 17 and pass. I'm not sure what we want to do yet. Looking at the Valve Sleeper, passes. Well, let's Tainted Indulgence. Discard a go for the Throat at this point. Grow the Vandal. Level up the Sleeper. This Consider is actually pretty nice. Ooh, that's also pretty nice. I kind of want to wait on the Anointer till we have something in the graveyard. I think what we do is run out Evangel, loot. Discard, Consider, play the land, and yeah, we'll just let it go. We'll just let it go for now. Opponent down to 12. They gotta be trying to set up Invoke Despair, right? Wow, all they got's take Numa. Well, if they're doing that, let's just level up this Valve Sleeper while they're tapped down. Oh my god, and they whiffed. Oh no, opponent. I think we can survive the Invoke here, though. It's not the actual end of the world. Sheoldred's a little more annoying. Well, we draw and get drained. Play the land. Level up, draw a card. Get drained. Go to combat, hit ya. Wow, opponent's got to make the trade. Okay, that's good for us. That is fine. We got through a Sheoldred about it. Down to 5. We win through an Invoke. Is this the draw 2 win? Are we doing it? Flesh Gorger, okay. Well, they gotta be able to kill the Vandal, which they can't. Okay, that should do it. Tainted Indulgence, draw some cards, discard an Anointer. Vandal going all the way up to 5 power, and oh, okay, that was actually super sweet. Okay, maybe draw 2 can work. That was actually a pretty sweet game for this deck. We did benefit that last game from our opponent having a mulligan, but that didn't happen in game 1. We took him full strength. The deck has some sweet synergies, and we draw a ton of cards. What more could you want out of a budget deck? Cheap, synergistic, and you draw all the cards. Could want a better webcam, but that'll be fixed. I blame Bear. My cam link for my good cam may have been eaten, but another one's coming, so it'll be fixed once it comes in the mail. But all right, let's keep doing that. Budget Magic time. We are playing some more Dimir draw 2 and see what we're up against. Hopefully not a black deck. So many black decks sometimes. Opponent, Mythic 73. All right, probably not a black deck. couple of tap lands is a little annoying, but this hand's fine. Shipwreck Marsh. You. Opponent Plains. All right, could be Soldiers. Evolve Sleeper and Shipwreck Marsh number 2. Hopefully we hit our land drops. That is going to be necessary. Passes? Opponent passes. Well, see if we can consider our way into literally any land. All right, Resolute Reinforcements, that's fine. Any land, any non-land going to the graveyard. Yeah, sorry, Anointer. Anointer is sweet, but we really, okay. We hit the swamp. We get to play the swamp. We get to run out a sleeper. This should make it hard for our opponent to really attack here. And if they have Adeline, we can at least bounce it. I guess 1 token off Adeline is probably not the absolute end of the world. Anointed Peacekeeper. I mean, I assume they have to name removal or else we just kill it. Ghost would go for the throat. I was wondering if they might go for Vortex because we could bounce it right now, but we're not gonna do that anyway. Maybe our opponent, ooh, okay. Well, that's freebie. Level up, and we're gonna block the token just in case. Opponent Selesnya, they could have King Darien or something that actively cares about tokens. Well, I guess we just discard the go for the throat. See if we end up regretting that later in life. I do like Double Puppeteer. Double Puppeteer could do some work. I'm imagining Selesnya doesn't have that much removal. Probably some like Brutal Cathars or something. Ooh, well, I guess we gotta level up now if we're going to. Cannot activate abilities during our opponent's turn once it comes down. All right, well, level up a Valve Sleeper. Yeah, it's gonna be an issue. We needed our land drops too. All right, let's just bounce this to hand. We could tuck it, and maybe this is way too greedy, but let's bounce it into hand and then grow this to draw a card and whiff on lands. Menace. Do we get him with the sleeper too? Let's just Menacin for 3. Let's leave the sleeper back, I think. Still a little worried about Adeline coming down. Having a 4/4 back seems good in that scenario. All right, well, I guess that's the downside of growing our Evolve Sleeper to 4 top. Oh boy, and the Adeline. Okay, well, this went about as bad as it could. So we're taking a huge beating. Oh, we might be in trouble. We might be in trouble. Well, we find the land. Oh, yeah, run out the Puppeteer. I mean, Puppeteer can trade with Adeline, that's something. And then get back a Valve Sleeper, I guess. About it. Ooh, wedding announcement. The funny thing is our opponent's drawn enough good cards. I think if they just run out this mural, we probably would just die. But our opponent's drawn enough other things like Adeline and wedding announcement. It's gotten our opponent not to do that, which I think is keeping us in this game. If they just run out mural and have Adeline mural, we probably just get run over by tokens. So many Puppeteers. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess at this point we got to try to hit our land. It would be nice if we could do this in the, ooh, all right. Wow, all the Puppeteers. Literally everyone. All right, so discard a Puppeteer. No attacks. I mean, it's okay. Opponent again found something better than running out this mural. Okay, we will still take it. If our opponent attacks with Adeline, I think we do block with Puppeteer. We could also Rona's Vortex. They only got 2 mana. Yeah, let's just bounce it. Hopefully our opponent can't replay it, and that buys us some time. All right. Oh, this wedding announcement's gonna flip too. I honestly can't believe we're still in this game. This feels like a game that we should just be losing brutally, but somehow it's 15-15. We're not dead. It'd really be nice to get the Puppeteers down before we start thirsting. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I mean, eventually these Puppeteers with thirst is going to be a lot of damage. Like next turn, so we can level up a Valve Sleeper, that we can draw a second card during our turn, double trigger Puppeteer, then during our opponent's turn, thirst, double trigger Puppeteer, or maybe even get down the third Puppeteer, Puppeteer Tron. All right, our opponent has finally got to the part of the game where they're gonna play their mural again. And they flip the wedding announcement. We draw a land. Well, let's thirst. We kind of need removal now that they played the mural. Infernal Grasp works. Trigger. Gain 4, opponent loses 4. Get rid of the mural. Yeah, that's a lot of soldiers. It's a lot of soldiers if that attacks. Well, I mean, I don't think we're dead. Even with this wedding announcement flipped, I think we can survive this attack. Oh boy, another one, okay. And we have Death Touch, so we can trade with this 11-11. Oh, here comes the attack. So, kill the 11-11. We want to try to keep the Puppeteers, I think. Oh, it's so tempting to kill this anointed Peacekeeper, but the Puppeteers are doing work, and we have this Consider, so we know we get to draw 2 during our turn, and we can play another Puppeteer. But maybe we, wait, 2, 4, 6. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we gotta save the damage. We gotta save it. We do get to get back the Anointer, which could eventually get back the Puppeteer. Well, I think we need to Consider first to try to hit removal, even though we could play the Puppeteer. We really got to keep this mural from attacking if possible. Thirst. Sad to do a main phase, we don't have a choice. Okay, well, that kind of backfired. Well, play the land, play the Anointer, pass the turn. Actually, we might have lethal next turn. All right, there's a Adelaide. So if we can just survive this attack, which I think we do, because these mural tokens don't come in tapped and attacking. You gotta attack with mural, right? There's no way. You have to. Wow! All right, our opponent's passivity, the fact that they're not attacking us is working in our favor. And now I think we win. Play the Puppeteer, Thirst for Discovery. Double trigger that hits our opponent for 4. It also grows with Anointers. And I think that's Xaxes. I mean, I think even if they attack last turn, I think we could survive and still do this. That was a good Puppeteer game. Like, surprisingly good. Well, bring in more creature removal. And then I guess we just do some trimming, essentially. Trim a couple 2-drops and run it like that. I feel like that's one of those games we had no business winning. I don't know how that worked out. I feel like our opponent should have been a lot more aggressive. I mean, this was fine. Not a super exciting hand, but card draw, Valve Sleeper, well, we'll take it. Plus, if our opponent just never attacks us, then life is good. Ooh, mulling to 5, that's painful. Planes for our opponent. Well, land and Valve Sleeper. I think we're out-abbing our opponent at the moment. Valve Sleeper, a little bit ripped, I guess. Well, play the Underground River. Might as well level up. Got nothing else to do. If they flash in Resolute Reinforcements, we could bounce a token if we had to. All right, opponent down to 18. Plus, I mean, our opponent mulligan, so I don't think they can afford to just throw cards away. 1-for-1 trades are probably a win for us at this point. Got an Adeline? Brutal Cathar, Torrens. Torrens is a little scary. That can build a big board. I think we probably just bounce that. Yeah, Rona's Vortex, pick up the Torrens. Ugh, it's another land. We are getting a bit land heavy here. Well, get in with the Sleeper, and then we're gonna do something that I don't usually like to do, but we're gonna run out the Anointer with no creature in the graveyard. I don't think we can get super punished against green white, especially since if they have removal, Brutal Cathar is most likely, and that's gonna exile it anyway. Darling of the Masses. Okay. 4-mana Citizen Lord that makes tokens. Interesting. Well, let's see if we can get rid of some of these. Ooh, that was a good Thirst for Discovery. Double go for the throw and more card draw. Well, grow the Anointer, play the land, get in with the Flyer, pass the turn. Well, now we can start killing things, which is nice. Opponent. Ooh, okay. Well, we said if our opponent had removal, exile-based was most likely, so. Although we should be able to kill the Wandering Emperor, right? Hopefully. So there goes our Anointer, sadly. I mean, we have double go for the throw, so we can kill the Darling. Or maybe our opponent attacks to get the token, and then I guess we gotta kill the token. That is a little bit annoying to have to spend removal on a token, but I don't think we can let Wandering Emperor live. Opponent gets in with the Darling. Gets a token. Sure. We will take our beats down to 17. Opponent has a lot of things that make tokens, don't they? All right, well, kill the Dork. It hurts to have to spend removal on a token, but it's worth it, I think, to get rid of the Wandering Emperor. Pass the turn. At some point, we'd like to level this up so we can start drawing cards. Although, Thirst for Discovery might be better here. We even have a basic to discard. All right, there's the Torrens. Yeah, let's just kill the Darling. So many of our opponent's creatures make creatures. I like the idea of our opponent's deck. It's not running super well in this matchup, and I'm not sure about Darling of the Masses, but you got Adeline, you got Mural, you got Darling the Mazes, you got Torns. That's a lot of like pretty good creatures that also make tokens. Yeah, let's run out Evangel. Do a little looting. Discard the Shipwreck Marsh. Opponent. Wedding Announcement. That's a good one. That is a good one. Does not attack. Okay, well, we'll level up. I guess if they attack, it's pretty bad with the Evolve Sleeper out. Tainted Indulgence. Discard. Probably consider. Ooh, all right, another go for the throat is sweet. I guess we probably just pass. Yeah, let's pass. And now we got options. We can Fairy Vandal plus either Thirst or go for the throat. Oh my, well, it's looking like it's gonna be go for the throat. Adel, wow, those are some good ones off the top. Wedding Announcement into Adeline. Opponent's deck does have good cards. Still not gonna attack, all right. Opponent just refuses to be aggressive with their deck. I mean, I guess again, probably it's correct, but drawing cards with the Wedding Announcement seems tempting. I don't know, I tend to go to my way to try to draw cards a lot of the time, but maybe tokens are better here. But at some point you gotta attack with the tokens if they're gonna do anything. Opponent. All right, maybe they're gonna wait for the Wedding Announcement to flip. Fairy Vandal, Thirst for Discovery, draw some cards, trigger our stuff. Ooh, we're in kind of sweet shape now. Infernal Grasp is also good. So now we get to play the Anointer. Well, this is actually great. Play the Anointer. We can draw with Sleeper to trigger our stuff and still have up Infernal Grasp. So draw a card. Number 2 for the turn. Ooh, Tainted Indulgence. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, can we attack? Yeah, I think we wait one more turn. We are at 12, and our opponent does have a lot of creatures. And sooner or later, they are gonna accidentally start attacking us with those creatures. Maybe we let it go. Maybe just Tainted Indulgence is better here. No, all right, well, if our opponent is not going to attack anyway, it's Tainted Indulgence definitely better. Now maybe we just discard the Infernal Grasp. I mean, I think we're all in on the draw second card synergies. We got the Puppeteer now, which is huge. So play the Puppeteer. Draw with Sleeper. And if we hit a land, then we can Tainted Indulgence. Oh, okay, consider. I mean, that's still fine. Throw the dorks. Fairy Vandal getting huge. Run out another Evolve Sleeper. Consider plus Tainted Indulgence is a lot of triggers next turn cycle. Our janky Dimir stuff is just going way bigger and wider than green white tokens. Although our opponent did mulligan, which I think is helping, but still, opponents played a lot of good cards. This was a mulligan where they still had like a lot of cards that generate card advantage or make more cards, and somehow we still just kind of overwhelmed them. I mean, this is just game, right? Clay Champion. Good card. Spends all the mana on it, puts a ton of counters on things. The problem for our opponent is we just have lethal in the air, and I don't think they can kill us here. Like, we can jump block with literally everything and just attack with Vandal and Anointer and have lethal. I mean, I guess they just swing out and do the math is for blockers thing. What else? I mean, they're actually dead on board with 0 cards in hand, so yeah, all right. Opponent swings, hoping against hope that we misclick, I guess. Does a little bit of training, makes a token. Well, block the big stuff, Keep blocking the big stuff. Yeah, this isn't even, wow, this actually isn't even that much damage. So opponent hits us for like 4, and then we just attack for lethal. That went way better than I would have expected. Like, all right, opponent's deck looks sweet, but too good. Oh, sweet. So what do we learn this week about Dimir Draw 2 in Standard? And overall, the deck worked pretty well. We've been playing at Mythic on Arena, and record-wise, we went 5-4 with the deck, which is like 56% win percentage, which for a budget deck at Mythic is pretty good. And it's actually a little better than that, because as I was recording, at one point, I played against Mono Black 4 times in a row. And the 4th time, I just straight up scooped once I realized it was Mono Black again. So one of those losses probably shouldn't count on the stats, which would make us 5-3 if we discount that one. But whatever, it technically happened. I did scoop to that matchup. So all that to say, the deck has a slightly positive win rate at Mythic, which is pretty impressive. And I think the deck is just like super cool and super fun to play. Gitaxin, Puppeteer, Gurgly Anointer, they were way better than I expected them to be. The recursion on these cards makes them really, really powerful. And we got to see the deck kind of go off. If we can stack up a few Anointers, a few Fairy Vandals, ourselves, get a puppeteer or two going. Every time we cast a Tainted Indulgence or Thirst for Discovery, we just get so much value. Our team gets so huge. A lot of it's evasive. We're draining and gaining life with Puppeteer, which does kind of feel a little bit like a Shieldred. It's not Shieldred good. In fact, if you upgrade this deck and are playing non-budget, adding a copy or two of Shieldred is probably really good because we draw so many cards. That would be one of my upgrades, I think, for a non-budget build. But I was really impressed by how this deck worked. I will say, as far as trying to make the deck a little bit cheaper on Arena, you don't have a ton of options. Gitaxian Puppeteer is one of our wares. It is the reason to play the deck, so you can't cut that. You might be tempted to cut a Valve Sleeper, but I already tried that. As I was building this deck, my first thought was not to play a rare 1-drop and play like a Delver of Secrets or something, and I tried some of those other options and lost and lost and lost, and then I started playing a Valve Sleeper, and Sleeper, as we saw in our games, is actually really huge. The ability to level it up and start drawing cards to trigger our stuff and turn into a huge threat makes it super powerful in the deck. So I wouldn't want to cut a Valve Sleeper. I guess if you were desperate, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it, which leaves you basically with the dual lands, which hopefully, if you're a standard player in Arena, you probably have these cards in your collection already because they're kind of the foundation of making most decks. I wouldn't want to cut them. You can't. If you want to go ultra budget and you're playing kind of casually, you're not at super high ranks, I think you can get away with playing the tapped common duels instead over the short term. But if you're going to try to rank up with it and get to Mythic or whatever, you're going to need to replace them with the untapped lands eventually. So I think 16 rares is basically where it is unless you want to play bad mana. But if you're willing to play bad mana, you could get it down to 8 rares. And like I said, hopefully you have some of these cards anyway, because really, Gitaxian Puppeteer is the only weird card in this deck. A Valve Sleeper, Shipwreck Marsh, Underground River, they're kind of standard staples, so hopefully people already have those in their collection. So I like this deck quite a bit. As far as non-budget mode, we mentioned Shieldred, seems like it could be a nice upgrade to the deck. Kaido Suzuki, another interesting option, another way to draw an extra card during our turn to trigger our stuff, and it's just a pretty powerful card. Other than that, you can improve the mana base a little bit with like Channel Lands, maybe Mishra's Factory, and in the sideboard you can add in Unlicensed Hearse is just better than Lantern of the Lost. Reckoner Bankbuster also seems pretty good against control, another way to draw extra cards and just a good source of card advantage. So those would be the things I'd be keeping in mind, I think, if you want to try to non-budget the deck and upgrade it even more. But anyway, that's Dimir Draw 2. It worked well, it played well, it draws 10 of cards, it does fun things. We had some absurd matches with the deck, so if you're looking for something a little different to play in Standard and don't want to spend a ton of money, I think it's a pretty good option. So anyway, that's Dimir Draw 2. That's been our budget magic for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.